this is Gina. Today I'm going to show you how to make a bracelet with 12x4 bicones. So they're elongated bicone, and we're also using an English cut crystal in the middle. I want you to see just how pretty the units are. This turns out really pretty. Now this is not a very beginner's bracelet. It's a little bit more advanced simply because you're sewing through a lot. There's more steps, and you may not want to try it for your very first project, but if you've been doing beading for a while, it's actually going to be pretty easy for you if you are not a really true beginner. And you know, if you watch it and you're a beginner and you think you can do it, then go for it. It's not hard, like I said. It's just that there's a lot more steps to this one. So this is another one I made, another color scheme. So I've got both of these color schemes here, and I've used some half moon fold over clasps because I just got them in. I think they're cool and I wanted to try them, and so I just designed this little bracelet. And we'll discuss how and where to get all these beads in the next section here, but I wanted you to see how pretty it was, and I hope you stay tuned. And like I said, here's another one on the wrist. This is what it looks like, and let's go ahead and look and see what it takes to make this particular bracelet. Okay, for this project today, we will be using an English cut round bead. They range in size from 5mm to 5.5 to 6mm round. You can use any of those. I have several of them in many colors on my website, so you can choose one if you would like, or just use something 6mm round. It'll work just fine. We are also going to, and this is a magic blue that I'm using today. We're also going to be using 12x4 bicones, and again, I have them on the website in a bunch of different colors, so if you don't have any, you can get some. This one is a half purple blue opal that I will be using in this particular project. I have them, like I said, in lots of colors, and they're very long strands. Both of these are. So you can make several bracelets with one strand of either one of these. So then we're going to be using some seed beads. So these are all Toho. This is galvanized permanent finish aluminum 15O. Then we will be using metallic hematite in both 11O and 8O. I'm going to be using two galvanized permanent finish aluminum 8Os also for my clasping area. However, you do not have to do that. You can just use whatever 8O you have chosen if you would like. I am also going to be using a clasp. I got these new little clasps. I'll show you close up. Really cute little rhinestone platinum finish here, and it's a half moon shape, and I also have those on the website. They're new and I just wanted to try them out, so that's why I'm using that. You can use any clasping you would like. Just keep in mind, clasping affects the length of your bracelet, so you will need to choose something that will work well for the amount of units that you make. Now, just because people are going to ask, I'm going to tell you the color scheming I used in my original design here and get you close and show you what it looks like. So in this one, for my 12x4, I used green half magma. For my English cut bead, I used golden luster, and then I used 11O in galvanized permanent finish starlight. I used metallic bronze, or excuse me, my 15O is the gold color, the starlight, and my 11O is metallic bronze. My 8Os are metallic bronze also, and then I used two galvanized permanent finish starlight 8Os. So that is what I used in this particular one, and I think it turned out really pretty. The color scheming is really nice. I also used the same clasping I'm going to use in the gold tone. So that's what I used on that, just in case anyone's interested. And we're going to go ahead and thread our needle. This is a very thread hungry project, so you're going to need quite a bit of thread. You're going to want to use something very small in diameter because we're going to thread through these beads a lot. So I'm using a 10-pound Nanofil. You can use 8-pound Nanofil also, and you can use 6-pound Fireline. Nothing above those sizes, because it will fill your beads up and you will not be able to pass through them. Then you're going to want a size 12 beading needle. Again, that's so that you can pass through your beads easily. So I recommend a size 12. Put onto your needle to start about 5 feet of thread. If you do not know how to extend your Fireline or your Nanofil, which you will need to do during this project, then I will have a video link in the description box beneath the video player that will show you how to do that. Keep in mind that you want to pass through the bigger beads when you extend your Fireline, and not when you're going to add your little 15 O's. And towards the end of the project, you want to make sure that you have quite a bit of thread left, so you'll want to extend somewhere towards the end in the bigger beads so that you can pass through and do your last embellishment. Those are just a few tips that's going to make this project a little easier. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, to start this project, we are going to open our little fold over clasp. I just grab the top of it and then push down on the loop and separate it. Now you can use any clasping you'd like. You don't have to use one of these. I'm just showing you in case you want to. And then close this side and set the other side aside. And then you can work with just one side to start your project. Now we are going to make a unit and then attach the clasping. So to make our first unit, we will pick up a 6mm crystal here, and then we will pick up an 11-0, and then an elongated bicone, and then an 8-0 seed bead, and then another bicone, and then an 11-0. So this is what you should have on your needle, just like this. Then we are going to bring this down to the end of the thread. You don't have to leave a long tail, but you need to leave enough to tie a knot. Oh, I am not going to be able to speak through this today. Then we're going to go into the opposite side of the bead on the tail side. So we're going through the 6mm round bead, and we're just going to hold on to the tail and hold on to that bead and pull the working thread through until we draw these into a triangle shape like this. Now we're going to sew through this entire thing. So I'm coming out of the round bead. I'm going to go into the 11-0 and the bicone right here. And then I'm just going to pull my thread through. And I'm going to back up just a little bit. Then I'm going to go through the 8-0 seed bead here. Now it's going to be all loose and weird. Don't worry about it. As we get through more beads, we can tighten it up. Now we're going to go through this bicone and 11-0 on the other side of it. Now just hold on to it and give it a tug and draw it all together. Then bring your working thread over your tail thread, and then put your tail thread through the loop that results from crossing your threads twice, just like this, and then just pull a little knot and tighten it between the 11-0 and the round bead, just like this. Now we're going to sew. I'm going to move that tail, and we're going to sew into this 11-0 seed bead right here, and exit and pull your thread through. Now I'm going to cut this tail down just a little because it's going to keep getting in my way. So I'm going to cut that down, and then I'm working out of this 11-0 now. I'm going to pick up an embellishment to go over the top of this bead. So when we are coming out doing our embellishment on the side with the crystal, we will start with 3 15-0 seed beads, and then we will pick up a crystal, so our 6mm round bead, and then 4 15-0s, just like this. And then we're going to go down. We're on this side here. we're going to go into that side of the 8/0 on the bottom of the unit here, just like this. And we're going to pull this down and just guide it up over the top of the triangle, just like this. Now we're coming out of the 8/0. We're going to pick up two 15/0 seed beads. I'm going to get you in a little bit closer here so you can see. Now this is kind of wobbly and hard to do, but you're going to just avoid two of these 15/0s and go into the two on top of them, just like this, and then up through the crystal. Hold on to your piece and pull your thread through. And guide this down to where it looks like a little upside down Y, just like that. Then pick up three 15/0 seed beads onto your needle, just like this. And you're going to go into the outside of this 11/0 seed bead. So the outside is towards the side of the bicone here. And then go through the crystal. My thread is getting a little rambunctious there. And pull your thread through. Now you should have something that looks like this. We're going to sew back through this embellishment and put a little 11/0 right between these beads. So we're coming out of the crystal here. We're going to go into the 11/0 first. Then we're going to go into three of the 15/0s on top here. Pull the thread through. Then I'm going to pick up an 11/0 and I am going to go through the three 15/0s on this side. So I'm just putting my little hematite 11/0 in between those silver 15/0s. Now you can pull it all out of whack, be careful. And then go into the 11/0 from the outside and back into the crystal. Now I'm just going to take my thread zapper and get rid of this little tail just to get it out of the way. Just to a point here, just to kind of get it out of my way. Now I'm going to put on my clasping. So let me back off a little bit here. I'm not even sure that I was in camera. Now we're going to pick up three of our 11/0 seed beads. And here I'm going to use my silver 8/0. And I'm going to drop it down. Then I'm going to pick up half of my clasping, whatever clasp you're using, pick up half of it and go through the loop on it. Now with these fold over clasps, you want to make sure that the domed side is up towards you, and then you're going to go back down into the 8/0. And your clasp is going to twist and turn. You'll just have to turn it again several times while you do this to make sure it's in the proper position. So I'm just going to pull this all together by pulling on my working thread and line it up like this. Now I'm going to pick up three 11/0 seed beads. Three 11/0s. And then I'm going to go into the other side of the crystal. So just pick this up and move that little 11/0 aside. Come on, quit being a brat. Little 11/0 you. And pull this down. Just like that. That's what you should have. Now we're going to sew through this again. So I'll show you how to do it once, and then we'll come back and we'll do it one more time off camera. Then we'll come back and continue. So we're coming out of the crystal here. We're going to go up through the three 11/0s on this side and through the 8/0 and then through the clasp. Then back into the 8/0 and the three 11/0s on the opposite side. And hold this all together. Give a little tug here so it tightens everything back up, and then go through the crystal. Now do that one more time and we'll be back to continue. Okay, so I have secured my clasping and I am coming out of the crystal again after doing my last pass through the clasping. And now we're going to do one more little tiny embellishment with a 15-0 here just to kind of smooth the corners. So you're coming out of the crystal, you're going to go down into the 11-0 seed bead right here. Pull it through, pick up a 15-0, and then go into the bicone crystal right here. Now that kind of just smooths the corner of that bicone. Then go into the 8-0 here, kind of pull your 8-0, squeeze your unit, pull your 8-0 down, because as we sew through, we kind of pull it up and we need it to be protruding some for our next unit. So just pull it down and then go up into this bicone right here. Pick up a 15-0 seed bead and then go into the 11-0 and the crystal, just like this. Now we have to watch. This is where we tied our knot, so it's a little tight. See if we can get back down into this 11-0 here. And it's kind of hard because of the knot. So you don't burn it down and have a bunch of stuff in the way here. So we're going to go into this 11-0 right here, and it's blocked by that 15-0 now, so it's a little tight. So just pull it through gently and then go down into the 15-0 that you just added and then down into the bicone. And now we won't sew through that anymore because it's getting very tight. That's why we need a small thread and stuff for this one, because and you don't have to put those 15-0s on if you feel like it's too tight and you can't get, you don't have to. It's just something a little extra. Now we're coming out of this bicone, we're going to go into the 8-0 seed bead. What we're going to do for the next unit is we are going to do everything opposite, so that we will have our next unit a triangle that's upside down. So we're going to say this one is right side up, the next one will be upside down. So we'll do everything in reverse that we just did. So what we're going to do is pick up a bicone and then an 11-0, and then we're going to pick up a crystal and an 11-0 and a bicone, just like this. So now the bottom of our unit is towards the bottom of this unit. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop this down and come back into the 8-0 seed bead here. And you can see our unit is now upside down. So we're going to sew through this. We'll go through all the beads. So I'm going through the bicone, then I'm going to go through the 11-0, the crystal, and the 11-0 on the bottom here. Pull my thread through, up through the bicone, and then back into the 8-0. And we will do our embellishments from the 8-0 side now. So when you're coming out of the 8-0, you are going to pick up your 15-0s. You're going to pick up 4 15-0s on the bicone side. And as you move towards the crystal side, or you're coming out of the crystal side, you will always pick up 3 first. So 4 15-0s because we're coming out of the 8-0. Then we pick up a crystal, and then 3 15-0s because we're going to go into the crystal side. So this is what we have: 4 15-0s, crystal, 3 15-0s, and then we're going to go into the crystal side from the outside of the 11-0 seed bead, and then through the crystal and the other 11-0, just like this, and pull this down. Then we're going to push this on top of the triangle, just like this. Then we're going to pick up 3 15-0s because we're coming out of the crystal side. So we're going to pick up 3 15-0s, and we're going to go down into the crystal right here and pull this tight. Now, as you come out of the crystal, you can go through 2 15-0s on this side too, which I did not do. So I'm just going to pick them up separately and come up through just 2 of the 15-0s, just like this. Now this tends to mess everything up, so just kind of straighten it up, pull everything tight, and then pick up 2 15-0s and go into the opposite side of the 8-0 we're attaching to, just like this. This should create a little Y shape around the 8-0 seed bead, just like that. Now you're coming out of the 8-0, you're going to go down into the bicone here. Seed bead. And the crystal and the other 11-0. So in order to do this next embellishment, you need to be coming from the outside. So you need to go through the entire 3 beads on top here so that you're coming out towards the outside. You need to go through all 3 of these beads, and then we're going to put our little 11-0 here. So we're going to go through these 3 15-0 seed beads, and then we're going to pick up an 11-0, and we are going to go into the next 3 15 right here. And then into the 11-0 from the outside in, and then go into the crystal. Sorry if that was confusing. Okay. So this is what you should have. Now we have 2 triangles and the tips are connected together. So now we're going to make another one from the crystal side. So coming out of the crystal, you will pick up an 11-0, a bicone, an 8-0, and a bicone, and an 11-0, just like this. So we're just alternating our units. And we're going to go back into the crystal here and create a triangle, just like this. Now we need to sew around this entire triangle. I'm going to back off just a little. And we are going to go through this 11-0, these 11-0, jeez, Gina, and then down into the bicone and the 8-0 on the bottom, and then through the bicone on this side and the 11-0 on this side, and back through the crystal and the 11-0 on the opposite side. We're always, when we start our embellishments, we're always going to be coming out of the 11-0 towards the outside. Now we're going to pick up 3, because we're on the crystal side, we pick up 3 15-0 seed beads, and then a crystal, and then 4 15-0 seed beads. And then we come down, so this is what I have. Then we come down into the 8-0. Pull this over the top, just like that, and just kind of tighten it up. Pick up 2 15-0s, skip the first 2 15-0s, go through the second 2 right underneath the crystal, and through the crystal, just like this. Hold on to that crystal and pull your thread through. Tighten it up. Sometimes you have to just kind of push that embellishment into shape so that it makes that little Y shape around your 8-0, and then pick up 3 15-0 seed beads because we are now on the crystal side, and we want to come in from the outside of the 11-0. So we're coming around, go to the outside, and then go into the crystal here. Perhaps. There we go. And through the crystal. Just like that. Now we have to put our little 11-0 on the embellishment. So we are going to come through the 11-0 again on this side. Then we're going to go through the 15 O's here. And if you want to skip this part, you can skip this part. I just think it looks better with a little 11-0 in there. There's no gap between the beads. So then I pick up an 11-0, go through the next 3 here. And then I am going to go into the 11-0 again and the crystal, because we always want it attached to the outside of that of the 11-0s on either side of the crystal. Then we go down into this 11-0 and down into the bicone, just like this. Then we go into the 8-0 seed bead right here. And now we're ready to make our upside down triangle. So when we come out of the 8-0, we immediately pick up a bicone, and then we pick up the 11-0, the crystal, and 11-0, and bicone. So it's just in reverse, and then you go back through that 8-0. Then we will sew through it again. And these are nice long beads, and we're sewing through a lot, so you run out of thread quite quickly. Of course, I didn't start with a full 5 feet either, so we're going to go all the way up and then into this 8-0 here. Now we need to do our embellishments. We're coming out of the 8-0 to start our embellishments. So when we do that, we will pick up 4 11-0 seed beads to start with. So when you're coming out of the 8-0 side, it's always 4. When you're coming out of the crystal side, it's 3. So we pick up an 8-0 or 15 O's, and then a 6mm round, and then 3 15 O's, because we will be going into the crystal side. So 4 15 O's, crystal, 3 15 O's. And we drop this down, and we go into the 11-0 from the outside and go into the crystal. Pull this down and cross it over, and then go into the 11-0. So we're coming out of the outside. Pull this all nice and tight, and then pick up 3, because we're on the crystal side now. We pick up 3 15-0 seed beads, and I'm going to get you just a little bit closer here for this. We're going to go into the crystal, and then we're going to pick up 2 of the 15 O's on the other side, just like this, and pull this down. Now this gets loose, so what you can do is you can pick up this side here, pull on it a little bit, and just pull it until it's tight. So if you pull on either side on the top here, you can get the bottom to tighten up. And then pick up 2 15 O's and go through the 8-0. And now you have your Y shape over your 8-0, just like that. It's nice and neat and tight. And then you're going to go up through your bicone. You're going to go through the 11-0 and the crystal and the 11-0 on the other side. You're going to go through the 3 15 O's on the top, pick up an 11-0, go into the 3 15 O's, and then go into the 11-0 and the crystal from the outside of the 11-0, just like that. Now we have 2 full sets here, or 2 full, I guess we could call 2 of them together 1 unit, so they're opposing each other like this. Now what I want you to do is just back up until you get the pattern down. So this time you will make the triangle that faces down. So you're coming out of the crystal, you pick up an 11-0, bicone, 8-0, bicone, 11-0, and come back through the crystal. And you can back up the video and watch the units so that you can get the pattern down. It's a little bit more complicated than I usually do, but it's not hard, it's just more steps. So continue doing that until you have 10 units, and I'm counting each one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you get it. So this is going to make, once I put my clasping on, my bracelet will be 7.5 inches. Now each complete unit here is an inch, so if you're very small and you want like a 6.5 inch bracelet, you're only going to make 8 units. If you're bigger and you want like an 8.5 inch bracelet, then you are going to make 12 units. So that's how you will adjust. Plus your clasping, of course, is going to make a difference. So if you have a toggle or something, you should have attached your round side here first so that you can measure it on your ruler, kind of halfway through your toggle, and then you can see where you're at. You want to end on the unit that has the crystal at the end here, because that will make it symmetrical with this end, because we started with that particular unit. So the unit that is facing downward triangle. Now I'm coming out of my crystal after putting my last embellishment on the top here with my little 11-0 here, and I am going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads and my silver 8-0. You can use whatever 8-0, whatever color you want, doesn't matter. I just kind of like the embellishment, the little highlight there. So I have my 8-0. Now I'm going to grab the other half of my clasping and I'm going to go through it. So the loop on my little moon here. And then I'm just going to go through the 8-0. I'm going to hold on to that 8-0, pull my clasp down to my piece, and then pick up 3 more 11-0 seed beads and go through the opposite side of the crystal, just like this. Now, just like we did the other side, go ahead and sew through this 2 more times. Go up through your 11-0s, your 8-0, your clasp, and through your 8-0, your 11-0s, and back through your crystal. And do that 2 more times, and we will be back. Okay, so I have gone ahead and secured my clasping, and now I'm coming out of this crystal right here. And I am going to go down into this 11-0 seed bead and exit. And I'm going to place a 15-0 here, and then I'm going to go through and do an embellishment, placing 11-0s through this entire length of my bracelet. So make sure that if you need to extend, if your thread is getting short, make sure you extend when you're in these bigger units before you go into your 11-0s. So right after you place the bigger beads and right before you sew through the second time or whatever, it's a perfect time to extend your thread. It's hard to go through the 15-0s, and it's difficult to pass through with the embellishment if you extend during embellishment time, unless your extension lands somewhere in the middle of a big bead. So having said that, let's go ahead and do this embellishment. So we're going to start with the 15-0 seed bead. We're coming out of this 11-0 after coming out of the crystal, and we're going to put on a 15-0, slide through this crystal here. Then we're going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead, and we're going to go into the next bicone right here. And pop it down in between. You can kind of stretch your units out a little bit to make sure that there's going to be enough room. And then we're going to go through the first 11-0 of the embellishment right next to the crystal. Go through that 11-0, pull your needle through, and pick up an 11-0, and go into the next 11-0. So the one on the next unit, just go straight down into it and then down into the bicone right there. Now just make sure you kind of stretch your units apart and just go through this slowly and add the 11-0 the entire length. So now we're between the bicone units right here. We're going to pick up an 11-0 and we're going to go into the next bicone. And pop that down in between. Then we'll go into the 11-0 next to the crystal and just kind of pull it apart, give it enough room here, pick up an 11-0 and go into the next 11-0. This just finishes everything off. You can finish off without doing this if you would like, but I think this gives it a really nice finished look. So just continue putting your 11-0 all the way down the length. It's may curve and make your bracelet kind of weird until we get to the other side, but it shouldn't be too bad. So go ahead and continue putting those 11-0s in, and we'll be back when we get to the end here. Okay, so I have gone the entire length putting my 11-0s in. I'm going to put in this last one. Now we put this 15-0 embellishment on in the very beginning, so you kind of have to push it aside to come up through your bicone and then go through that 15-0 and then we're just going to ignore that 11-0 and go through the, well, let's try to go through the 11-0 on the back here and push through the crystal. It'll be better if we can do that, but we have a lot of thread on this side, so we'll see if we can do it. There we go. Yep, we're going through the crystal here. And I'm just going to pull this through gently. And then I'm going to go down through this 11-0 and 15-0 on this side. And then down into the bicone. And now I am on the other side and I can start doing my 11-0s. So let me get this positioned here so I can handle it well. And I am going to pick up an 11-0 and go into the next bicone. Now you have to kind of separate things, pop it down in there, make sure it goes down in there nice. And then go up through your next 11-0 here. Separate things and go into the next 11-0 and bicone. And just work your way down this side, doing the same thing. And we'll be back. Okay, so I have finished all of my 11-0s all the way up the side here, and now you can see how it finishes off everything and makes it really pretty. There's no gaps between the units, and it just turns out really nice. So it makes a big difference, and then as you wear it, it exposes this middle crystal also, and it's really pretty design. So now I'm coming out of my last bicone. After putting in my last 11-0 here, make sure that's in the right spot, and then I'm going to pick up a 15-0 and I'm going to go into the 11-0 here on the very edge, clean that all up, and then I'm going to go through the crystal, and I think I will tie a knot right on the thread bridge right here. So right between the 11 O's and the crystal, and get my thread situated. I'm going to go underneath this thread bridge right here and make a loop, go through the loop, and pull a knot down. Then I think I'll just go up through my clasping one more time. Let's see, do I want to do this? Yeah, I think I can do it again. So I'll go up through my clasping, and then into the loop here. And you can go down into your beads too. I just thought maybe this would be an easier way to kind of do this, and I just stabbed myself. Yay, I love when I do that. And go into these 3 on this side, and get into camera, and tie another knot here between the crystal and the 11 O's on this thread bridge right here. And then through this crystal. And pull it all in so that it's not all thready and weird looking. And I'm going to try to go through this 11 O here. Things are getting a little tight. So through there and then down into here. So however you can tie a knot and then kind of hide it by going through your beads. So I'm going to go through this bicone. I'm going to pull this to the back of my piece and I'll thread burn it. I'm finding that the thread burner actually kind of clogs my beads more than the lighter, but I don't know. I've never been a huge thread burner fan. I just don't know why, but we'll try since it's here and I have it. We'll try it. Yeah, I just don't like it as well, but there we go. I'm just used to a lighter, I think. So, that's that. And show you what it looks like. That's what that looks like. This is what this one looks like, and I'm going to go ahead and put them both on and let you see what they look like on the wrist. And let's see if I can do this quick enough. I can get one on while I'm on camera. So this is not a hard one. It's just got a lot of steps and the beads can be a little tight. So I do not recommend this as a beginner's very first project, but a little bit of practice with bead weaving, if you've been bead weaving, then I would say you probably do this pretty easy. So let me go off camera and try to put this on because I can't hold it, and I'll be back. Okay, so here they are, and let me kind of separate them so you can see. This is what they look like with the clasping, and then the units. See how pretty they are? They're really pretty. I'm kind of partial to this color combination. I think this is the green half magma and the golden luster. I really do like that, and I like this one too, but I think the warmth of that one kind of appeals to me. But this one I wanted to make in cooler colors since I already made one in warm colors, and I think that they're both just really pretty. So I hope you'll try it. And if you like this video, please consider subscribing and perhaps pushing that little like button and maybe the bell so you'll get notifications and we can make another one together and do all that stuff. And I'm sorry I'm a little punch happy tonight. I'm very tired. I've been working on the next treasure bag, which will go out this Sunday, and I'm just tired. And I'm sorry, but I wanted to get you a tutorial. I designed this last night and I thought it was pretty, and I thought you might want to play with it while I prepare all my other stuff and get us a treasure bag going. So anyway, I will see you later. Bye-bye.